You're exhausted, not your body, your soul, and you can't figure out why. Because you're doing everything right. You're caring, you're trying, you're showing up. So why does it feel like you're disappearing? Look at your day for a second. You said yes when you meant no. You checked your phone, hoping for validation you'll never get. You explained yourself to someone who didn't even ask. You replayed a conversation from 3 years ago. You worried about what a stranger thought of you. You carried guilt for a boundary you should have set months ago. And you call this being a good person. But here's the truth. You're not being good. You're bleeding out. And the thing draining you, you call it caring. If this is landing, if you're feeling that uncomfortable recognition, you're in the right place. Subscribe, not for motivation, for transformation, because we're going to keep exploring the hard truths, the patterns you don't see, the beliefs that are quietly destroying you, the Stoic wisdom that actually works. This is a practice, not a performance. And stick around to the end. I'm going to ask you a question that will reveal whether you're actually living or just waiting. Now, here's the pattern you probably don't see. This is the invisible weight you carry every single day. Other people's opinions, the fear of being misunderstood, the hunger to be noticed. You rehearse conversations that haven't happened and replay the ones that already ended. Even when you're alone, your mind is crowded. You care about outcomes you can't control. You care about judgments you can't change. You care about a future that may never arrive. And somewhere along the way, you convinced yourself this was normal, that this is just what responsible people do. But deep down, you know something's wrong. Because you're exhausted in a way sleep doesn't fix. You're anxious about things that haven't happened, and you're angry at yourself for not being able to just let go. Here's what nobody tells you. You're not tired because life is hard. You're tired because you're caring about too many things that were never yours to carry in the first place. Think about the last time someone criticized you. Maybe it was small. Maybe they didn't even mean it. But you held on to it, didn't you? Turned it over in your mind, looked for proof they were right, prepared your defense for a trial that never happened. Or think about the last time you tried to control an outcome, a job, a relationship, a reputation. You did everything you could, gave everything you had, and it still didn't go the way you wanted. And instead of accepting it, you blamed yourself. If I'd just tried harder, if I'd just been better. Here's the pattern. You believe that caring deeply will keep you safe, that if you worry enough, prepare enough, please enough people, life will reward you with certainty. But it hasn't, has it? Instead, it's rewarded you with anxiety, with exhaustion, with this quiet sense that no matter what you do, it's never enough. And that's when the cracks start to show. Maybe it was a loss, a person, an opportunity, time itself, something you cared about deeply, slipped through your hands without asking permission. No argument saved it, no effort reversed it. You remember that moment, don't you? The strange quiet afterward, the realization that the world moved on without consulting your feelings. And yet, you were still here, breathing, standing, alive. That moment whispered something dangerous. If I could survive losing this, what else have I been overprotecting? Someone once asked you a question you couldn't answer. Why do you let this bother you so much? And you said what you always say. Because it matters. But they didn't let it go. They asked again, quieter this time. Does it matter? Or does your pride? And you felt it, didn't you? That sting, because you knew you'd confused attachment with importance, ego with duty, control with care. This is where most people double down. They decide the pain means they need to care more, not less. They armor themselves with intensity. But there's another way, a quieter one. 2,000 years ago, the Stoics figured something out, something that still unsettles people today. Your suffering, it's not caused by what happens to you. It's caused by how much meaning you give it. You can't stop the world from acting, but you can stop surrendering your peace to it. This is what they called detachment. And no, it's not about becoming cold. It's about becoming clear. Imagine you're standing in front of a fire. You can step closer or step back. The fire doesn't chase you, it just burns. Most of your pain, it comes from standing too close to flames you never needed to approach. Other people's approval, their misunderstandings, outcomes you can't command, reputations that shift like sand. You're burning because you keep insisting on getting close. Detachment is the discipline of stepping back, not running away, not pretending the fire doesn't exist, just choosing not to stand in it. Here's the part that scares people, because now you have to decide what actually belongs to you. The Stoics were ruthless about this division. What is yours? Your choices, your character, your response to what happens. What is not yours? Outcomes, other people's reactions, fate. The moment you confuse the two, suffering begins. You start trying to control things that were never in your control, and you abandon the one thing that is how you show up. Marcus Aurelius was the most powerful man in Rome. He could have controlled anything, but in his private journal, he wrote to himself over and over, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Seneca had wealth, status, influence, and he lost it all, exiled, betrayed, eventually ordered to take his own life. But he didn't lose himself, because he knew the difference between what he owned and what owned him. Epictetus was born a slave. He had no control over his circumstances, but he had complete control over his response, and that's where he found his freedom. This is the art of not caring about what you can't shape, so you can care fiercely about what you can. And here's what changes when you finally let go. Criticism, it loses its sting because you're not defined by it. Praise, it loses its intoxication because you're not inflated by it. Loss, it becomes bearable because you're not destroyed by it. Success, it becomes quiet because you're not dependent on it. You stop being dragged by every wave. You move like a rock in a river, present, unmoved, enduring. People will call this coldness, but they're wrong. Detachment isn't withdrawal, it's clarity. You're not caring less, you're caring correctly. You stop begging the world to behave the way you want. You start behaving the way you should, regardless of what the world does. There's a peace that comes when you stop needing life to validate you. You act because it's right. You speak because it's true. You walk away because it's necessary. And if people applaud, fine. If they condemn, fine. You're no longer available for manipulation. But here's the final truth, and it's not comfortable. You will lose everything you're trying so hard to protect. Your reputation, your time, your body, the people you love. Not maybe, definitely. The Stoic doesn't deny this. They face it. And in facing it, they find freedom. Not freedom from pain. Freedom to endure it without losing themselves. So, let me ask you something. And I need you to be honest. Not with me, with yourself. If today repeated forever, would you respect the life you're living? Really think about it. If the worries, the people-pleasing, the exhaustion, the replaying conversations, the guilt, if that became your eternity, would you call that meaningful? Or would it be a quiet hell you built with your own hands? You don't have to answer out loud, but don't look away from it, because this question reveals everything. It shows you whether you're living or just performing, whether you're free or still a prisoner to things that don't deserve your energy. So here's what you do. Choose carefully what deserves your care, not what society says, not what guilt demands, not what fear whispers. What actually deserves it? Your character, your peace, your truth, the people who see you, and everything else. Let it go. Withdraw your energy from what you can't control and pour it into what you can. When the world pulls at you, and it will, stand still, not because you don't feel. You'll feel everything, but because you finally know where those feelings belong. If this landed, if something here felt true, subscribe, because we're going to keep doing this work, exploring what it means to live deliberately in a world that pulls you in every direction. And before you go, leave one word in the comments. Just one word. The thing you're choosing to stop carrying. Let's see what we're all bleeding for. Stay grounded. Stay whole.